And CBSE, meanwhile, has released new guidelines for class 10th and 12th CBSE board exams amid the ongoing pandemic. According to the fresh guidelines, the first term is going to be held in offline mode in November and December, and second term will be held in March, April. But its mode will be decided later based on the COVID situation. Now, some major changes have been introduced in the exam format of the term. Unlike earlier, this will be a 90-minute MCQ test type paper with diagrams, with tables and situation-based questions. Now, there will be no theory-based questions in the first term examination. The duration of the exam has also been reduced to 1.5 hours from 3 hours earlier, and only 12 students will be allowed to write the exam at one point of a time. In fact, a center with 500 students will have one observer. However, 2 observers will be allocated to with centers over 500 students. The timetable for term 1 will be released on October 18. In fact, Neha Hebbale is with us to give more details on this from Bengaluru. So Neha, even though there are around 3 days left for the date sheet to be released by the CBSE, there are a lot of concerns, there are a lot of anxiety surrounding the first term board examination simply because of the changed pattern. Now, this time around, it is going to be objective type questions. And of course, this will be the first time that CBSE has introduced something like that. So help us understand, if you have students around you, how are they preparing for this?
Well, absolutely, Gauri. In fact, you summed it up quite rightly. Yes, while there is a little nervousness, of course, in the students, this is a new format that they're going to have to adapt to. A few of the students are actually relieved that, it's being conducted offline. Of course, concerns being raised by a few parents also. I'm going to take it straight here to who's joining us right now. The student here, of course, would be appearing for. So I'd like to first start by asking you, this whole question of online examinations or offline examinations is something that has, become very prominent now in the past 1.5 or 2 years.
Right.
So do you think this was, wise to have decided to opt for the offline examinations?
Yeah, so there are issues with the online examination. The problem is that, see, during the examination, anything can happen. See, like Murphy's law, we say, right? Anything can go wrong, can happen in that same day, same time. So these are the issues with the online examination, because there may be internet issues, there may be issues with the system that you're using. And even though the technology has evolved, I think there are still malpractices happening in online examinations, right? So that way, I would say that offline exam is always good, because you can detect any kind of malpractices that is happening done by the students.
Okay.
So my preference is that, given a choice, offline exam.
Okay. And I'm going to come to you. You've been preparing, obviously, for quite some time now. The whole format has changed. So, is this a relief that the MCQ format has been picked up, at least for the first term? Or, would you rather have had it like old school, the subjective type?
Like, it depends on subject-wise. For example, like if you take example of English, in English, like in the subjective format, depending on a language, the way we structure the answer, we can get marks even for that. But in objective, it's like you have to get the right option. Like even in numericals, when you're solving, even if you don't know the correct end answer, the working can still get you like half of 1 mark. So depending on that, there's obviously some disadvantages, but I think seeing that they have reduced the portions and kept it accordingly, so we don't have much pressure on the objective type of question. So yeah, it's manageable.
Now, ma'am, coming to you, of course, while students are preparing the whole work from home atmosphere, I'm sure parents have also got very involved in the studies of the students, more so now. So, I'd like to ask you, so how have you been, prepping him for this new format of examinations? Are there any concerns with the COVID, pandemic right now? Is that a concern or?
Yeah, of course, like that scare is always there. And anyway, DPS, he is studying in DPS, and they have given online option, and they are blessed to have all facilities also to sit at home and have that. Many kids are not even able to do that. In that way, these kids are blessed in that way. But exams, of course, we prefer offline, because they should, I feel that is better option. Other than conducting offline classes, at least exams should be offline. That's what I feel.
Okay, all right, thank you. Well, Gauri, you heard it, of course, the preference here, understandably so, being for the traditional way of the offline examinations because, like, of course, he mentioned also here the possibilities of malpractices remaining quite high in the online format. But really, we'll have to hope and pray that, nothing, of course, untoward really takes place. And hopefully all the COVID guidelines are also followed is what schools have been told to take that up very strictly. And here's wishing, of course, all the students who are appearing for their exams the very best. Back to you.
Right. Thank you, Neha, for sharing all those details.